The tension was palpable the moment the news broke. Young Jock, the smooth-talking rapper, known for his flashy lifestyle and unpredictable moves, had reportedly kicked Kendra out of their shared home, and the reason had fans across social media in absolute shock. It wasn't just a casual split or a heated argument that led to this dramatic fallout. Sources claim that a tape involving Kirk had gone viral, setting off a chain reaction that no one saw coming. Emotions ran high as friends and family scrambled to process what was happening, and the gossip mills exploded overnight, with theories, speculations, and heated debates. Social media feeds were flooded with reactions, some siding with Jock, others questioning Kendra's loyalty, and a few even wondering if the entire situation had been orchestrated for attention. The air was thick with tension as whispers of betrayal and heartbreak made their way into every corner of the entertainment world. Fans were left divided, unable to believe that the couple who once seemed inseparable was now at the center of one of the most shocking drama moments in recent reality TV history. You won't believe the details that have surfaced, including secret conversations, hidden alliances, and the emotional confrontations that allegedly took place behind closed doors. Everyone wants answers, and everyone wants to know how did it all escalate so quickly? Who really instigated the chaos? And what does this mean for the future of Jock and Kendra's relationship? As the drama unfolds, one thing is clear: this story is far from over, and the next twist might just leave fans speechless. The morning after the Kirk tape went viral, tension hung over young Jock's mansion like a heavy storm cloud. Inside, Kendra sat on the edge of their massive leather sofa, scrolling through social media feeds that were exploding with the scandal, her eyes wide with disbelief and hurt. The video had taken the internet by storm, clips being shared on every platform, with captions that screamed betrayal and deception. Her phone buzzed relentlessly, messages flooding in from friends, fans, and even family members, each one loaded with concern, curiosity, or judgment. Kendra could feel the walls closing in, the chatter outside the mansion growing louder with each passing minute. She could sense the eyes of the world on her, and the humiliation gnawed at her pride. Meanwhile, Jock was in his private study, pacing back and forth, his expression a mix of fury and heartbreak. He had tried to stay calm, to reason, to understand how a single leaked tape could throw his entire world into chaos. But every time he replayed the clips in his mind, the anger surged stronger. He couldn't fathom how trust had been broken so publicly. His phone was a storm of notifications too, but Jock ignored them, focusing instead on the confrontation that was unavoidable. By midday, Jock had stormed into the living room where Kendra was still glued to her phone, his presence immediately sending a shiver down her spine. "Kendra, we need to talk now," he said, his voice low but charged with intensity. She looked up, eyes glistening, heart pounding, and realized there was no sidestepping this moment. "Jock, please. Can we just?" she started, but he cut her off, his gaze hardening. "No, not this time, not after what I just saw." The air crackled as emotions flared, and what started as a tense conversation quickly escalated into a heated argument. Words were thrown, accusations made, and Kendra tried to defend herself, insisting that the tape had nothing to do with her, and that she had been blindsided just like everyone else. But Jock was relentless. "Blindsided? Kendra, this is my life. My reputation. You knew about this and didn't tell me," he shouted, his voice reverberating through the house. The tension was suffocating, a blend of heartbreak, anger, and disbelief. Friends who had been following the story on social media were already speculating about the fallout. And Jock knew that every word exchanged in that room could become another viral clip. Kendra's eyes filled with tears as she attempted to reach out to touch his arm, but he stepped back, shaking his head. "I can't do this anymore. I can't live in a house where every conversation, every moment is overshadowed by betrayal. I trusted you," he said, his voice breaking slightly, revealing the pain behind the anger. The family was left divided as phone calls and texts poured in from relatives, each one asking for details, taking sides, and offering advice that only added fuel to the fire. Jock's inner circle was whispering among themselves, debating whether this confrontation would end in reconciliation or a complete split. Meanwhile, Kendra tried to gather herself, pacing the room, desperate to make Jock see reason. "Jock, please, listen to me. I didn't do anything. This isn't what it looks like," she pleaded, her voice quivering. Jock, however, was unyielding. "I've seen enough, Kendra. I've listened to enough lies. It's over. The words hit her like a punch to the gut, and for a moment, she was frozen, unable to speak. Unable to process the weight of the reality Jock was laying down. Outside the mansion, the paparazzi had already gathered, sensing the storm brewing inside. Fans were tweeting, posting, and commenting in real time, creating theories about what had transpired behind those closed doors. Social media accounts exploded with reactions, shock, sympathy, and judgment all mixed into a frenzy that seemed unstoppable. The couple who had once been the picture of glamour and romance was now the center of one of the most talked about scandals of the season, and every detail was being dissected by fans and media alike. Kendra, realizing that the tape had not only affected Jock but had also placed her under a microscope, began to strategize, to think of ways to salvage her image, to explain herself to the world, and perhaps even to Jock. She knew that the clock was ticking and that every moment she delayed would only make the situation more volatile. In the study, Jock was making calls, trying to gather his thoughts, to figure out a plan of action. The decision to kick Kendra out was not impulsive. It was calculated, fueled by the need to protect himself, his reputation, and his mental sanity. He knew that once Kendra left, the narrative would shift. But he also knew that the emotional toll of this confrontation would be something neither of them would forget anytime soon. As the argument reached its peak, Kendra's composure finally broke. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, "Jock, please, don't do this. We can fix it." Jock's expression softened for a fleeting second, a glimpse of the man who had once loved her appearing through the storm of anger and betrayal. But it was only momentary. He shook his head firmly and turned towards the door. "It's too late, Kendra. Pack your things. You're leaving now." The words were final, the tone leaving no room for negotiation. Kendra collapsed onto the sofa, the reality of being kicked out hitting her like a tidal wave. Friends who had been trying to mediate were called in, trying desperately to calm the situation, but emotions were running too high. Outside, fans speculated wildly. Had there been infidelity? Was this a publicity stunt? Or had the Kirk tape truly shattered the foundation of a once seemingly perfect relationship? As Kendra packed her belongings, Jock stood silently, watching, conflicted but resolute. Every item she placed into her bag felt like a symbolic end to the life they had built together. The cameras outside captured glimpses of the unfolding drama, every movement scrutinized, every expression dissected. Friends and family offered quiet support. But even their words were laced with tension, aware that any misstep could ignite further controversy. Meanwhile, the Kirk tape continued to circulate, going viral across platforms, with commentary pouring in from fans, influencers, and fellow artists. The narrative was spiraling, and the pressure was mounting on both Jock and Kendra. The house, once filled with laughter and shared moments, now felt cold and suffocating, echoing with the arguments that had shattered its walls. Kendra, carrying her bags, paused by the doorway, looking back one last time, her heart heavy with sorrow and confusion. Jock, standing behind her, struggled to mask the pain he felt, knowing that this decision, while necessary in his mind, came at a cost. The moment was raw, emotional, and unforgettable, marking the beginning of a chapter that fans would dissect and discuss for weeks to come. As she stepped out into the waiting car, cameras flashing and fans murmuring, Kendra realized that her life had irrevocably changed. Jock, left alone in the house, took a deep breath, the weight of the day settling over him. The storm was far from over, and everyone involved knew that the next wave of drama was just around the corner. Tensions between friends, family, and fans were reaching a boiling point. And what had started as a viral tape was quickly evolving into a full-blown saga of heartbreak, betrayal, and public spectacle. Conversations that had once been private were now dissected publicly, opinions formed, and judgments passed. Every social media post, every interview snippet, every comment section erupted with speculation, and the pressure on both Jock and Kendra intensified. Emotions ran high as allies and adversaries weighed in, each twist fueling the narrative further. By the evening, the reality of the situation began to sink in. Kendra had been removed from the home, Jock had asserted his dominance over the situation, and the family was left divided, caught in the crossfire of loyalty, opinion, and shock. The night ended with silence falling over the mansion, a quiet that was almost deafening after the chaos of the day. But outside, the world was still talking, still speculating, and still waiting for the next explosive revelation. The stage was set for a drama that promised more heartbreak, more confrontations, and more shocking twists, leaving fans anxiously awaiting what would happen next. The story of young Jock and Kendra was far from over, and as the night deepened, the anticipation of the next chapter grew, every viewer wondering who would make the next move, and who would be left standing when the dust finally settled. The following morning, the aftermath of the previous day's confrontation was still reverberating through young Jock's circle, and the tension was palpable. Kendra had checked into a nearby luxury hotel, surrounded by friends who were offering comfort, advice, and a listening ear, but the weight of humiliation and heartbreak was still crushing. Every phone notification felt like another jab at her pride, with fans dissecting every detail of the split, reposting clips, and speculating wildly about her role in the Kirk tape fiasco. Kendra tried to hold herself together, scrolling through the endless stream of comments, some sympathetic, some merciless, others outright cruel. She kept reading, trying to discern who she could trust, who truly believed her, and who was ready to declare her guilty before the facts were even known. Meanwhile, Jock had called an urgent meeting with his closest friends and advisors. His house, once a symbol of stability, now felt like a war zone. The echoes of last night's arguments still ringing in every corner. Emotions ran high as discussions about the viral tape and its implications unfolded. Some friends urged him to go public, to control the narrative before it spun out of control, while others cautioned him against making any hasty statements that could backfire. Jock was at a crossroads, torn between protecting his image and confronting his feelings about the relationship that had once seemed unbreakable. Social media continued to amplify the drama. Fans posted memes, videos, and screenshots, each one adding a new layer of chaos to the situation. The Kirk tape had not only implicated Kendra in the eyes of some viewers, but had also ignited debates about loyalty, fame, and betrayal. Everyone had an opinion, and every opinion seemed to escalate the tension further. Kendra, feeling cornered by public scrutiny, decided to fight back in her own way. She recorded a candid video addressing her fans, her voice trembling but determined, explaining that she had been blindsided, that the viral tape was a manipulation she had never anticipated, and that she had been trying to navigate the situation as best she could. The video instantly went viral, sparking another round of heated discussions online. Fans were shocked, some rallying behind her, while others questioned her motives, claiming it was a strategic move to save her image. Meanwhile, Jock, watching the video from his study, felt a mixture of relief, frustration, and anger. Relief that she had finally spoken her side. Frustration that the public conversation was spiraling further. And anger that the entire ordeal had unfolded so publicly, leaving no room for privacy or calm resolution. The family dynamics were strained to the breaking point. Relatives who had been on good terms now found themselves divided, some siding with Jock, others with Kendra, and a few trying desperately to remain neutral while feeling the pressure from both sides. The household that had once been a symbol of unity and shared memories now seemed fractured, each member navigating their own emotions and loyalties. Kendra's friends, meanwhile, began to strategize about her next moves. They debated potential interviews, statements, and social media posts that could shift public perception, emphasizing her innocence and highlighting her role as a victim in the unfolding drama. The challenge, however, was immense. Every step she took was scrutinized, every word dissected, and every action analyzed for hidden meanings. On the other side, Jock's camp worked tirelessly to protect his reputation. Legal advisors, publicists, and trusted friends weighed in on each decision, from controlling social media narratives to planning potential interviews that could clarify his position without inflaming tensions further. The pressure was relentless, the stakes high, and the emotions raw. As the days passed, the public spectacle continued to escalate. Rumors of secret meetings, alleged reconciliations, and behind-the-scenes confrontations circulated widely, each adding another layer to the already complex web of drama. Fans became invested, picking sides, debating endlessly, and sharing every snippet of information they could find. Kendra, despite the heartbreak, tried to find moments of clarity amidst the chaos. She reflected on her relationship with Jock, the mistakes made, and the misunderstandings that had led to this point. Yet, every reflection was interrupted by the constant barrage of public opinion, making it nearly impossible to find peace. Jock, on the other hand, grappled with conflicting emotions. His anger at the betrayal clashed with lingering feelings of affection and shared history with Kendra. Late nights were spent in solitude, contemplating the path forward, wondering whether the decision to kick her out had been the right one, and considering how the next steps would impact not only his personal life but his public image. The Kirk tape itself became an obsession for many, replayed endlessly, each viewing interpreted differently. Analysts, bloggers, and fans offered their own narratives, weaving a complex tapestry of speculation that only heightened the drama. Every new twist, every leaked snippet, fueled conversations, making it nearly impossible for either Jock or Kendra to find any semblance of normalcy. In this whirlwind, alliances shifted constantly. Friends who had once been loyal to one side found themselves torn, reconsidering their positions based on new information or emerging rumors. The atmosphere was charged with tension, and each interaction carried the weight of unspoken judgments and emotional baggage. Social media platforms became battlegrounds, with trending hashtags, viral videos, and heated comment threads dominating the landscape. Fans debated endlessly, some dissecting Jock's decisions, others defending Kendra's innocence, and a few trying to mediate amidst the chaos. Every new post reignited discussions, keeping the drama alive and ensuring that the story would not fade from public attention anytime soon. As the week unfolded, Kendra began receiving invitations for interviews and appearances, opportunities to tell her side of the story in a more controlled environment. She knew that public perception was critical and that her next moves would significantly influence how the world viewed her role in the scandal. Jock, aware of the shifting tides, also considered his options carefully, knowing that any public statement could either reinforce his position or complicate matters further. Late one evening, an unexpected development occurred. A close friend of both Jock and Kendra reached out, claiming to have crucial information about how the Kirk tape had surfaced and suggesting that there might have been manipulation involved. This revelation added another twist to the story, introducing new layers of intrigue, suspicion, and potential reconciliation or further conflict. Jock and Kendra were forced to confront the reality that the viral tape was not just a simple scandal, it was a catalyst that exposed vulnerabilities, tested loyalties, and amplified every emotional fault line in their relationship. Each had to navigate a maze of personal feelings, public scrutiny, and strategic decision-making, with no guarantee of resolution or satisfaction. By the time the weekend arrived, both Jock and Kendra had experienced a roller coaster of emotions, from anger and betrayal to reflection and cautious hope. Friends and family continued to weigh in, offering advice, support, or criticism, depending on their perspectives and allegiances. Social media remained relentless, with every update sparking new waves of discussion, speculation, and commentary. As part of the ongoing drama, insiders leaked additional details about arguments, private confrontations, and emotional confrontations that had occurred behind closed doors. These revelations further fueled the public's fascination, ensuring that the story remained at the forefront of conversations across entertainment circles. In this environment of constant tension, both Jock and Kendra had to navigate not only their personal emotions but also the relentless scrutiny of fans, media, and their inner circles. Each decision, each interaction, and each statement carried significant weight, influencing not only the trajectory of their relationship but also their public personas and long-term reputations. By the end of the weekend, it was clear that the fallout from the Kirk tape was far from over. The story had evolved from a single, viral moment into a complex saga of heartbreak, betrayal, and public spectacle, with multiple layers of intrigue, emotional conflict, and social media-driven drama. Fans were left on edge, eagerly awaiting the next twist, while Jock and Kendra grappled with the consequences of their decisions and the ongoing pressure of living under the public eye. Part 2 of the saga was already looming, promising more confrontations, revelations, and emotionally charged moments that would continue to captivate and shock audiences across the globe. As the new week began, the atmosphere surrounding young Jock and Kendra was electric with tension and anticipation. Kendra had settled into a temporary apartment provided by friends, but the walls felt suffocating as she replayed every moment. Leading up to her abrupt eviction, fans continued to dissect the viral Kirk tape, creating reaction videos, memes, and threads that ranged from supportive to viciously critical. Every time she scrolled through her feeds, it was like reliving the humiliation all over again. Despite the heartbreak, Kendra knew she had to maintain composure, both for herself and for her public image. She began to draft statements, strategize with her team, and even rehearse interviews, determined to reclaim control of her narrative. Meanwhile, Jock remained ensconced in his mansion, surrounded by his inner circle. The tension in the house was palpable. Every phone call and message seemed to carry a hidden judgment, every knock at the door potentially heralding another twist in the unfolding drama. Jock was relentless in his pursuit of clarity and resolution, but his emotions were volatile, oscillating between anger, regret, and lingering attachment. He spent hours replaying interactions, analyzing every conversation, and trying to make sense of how a single viral clip could unravel years of trust and intimacy. Social media played a relentless role in intensifying the drama. Every fan theory, insider leak, and celebrity opinion amplified the story, transforming a personal conflict into a global spectacle. Hashtags trended, discussion boards erupted, and the public's fascination only grew, creating a pressure cooker environment that neither Jock nor Kendra could escape. In the midst of this chaos, mutual friends tried to mediate, arranging private conversations, seeking to clarify misunderstandings, and exploring avenues for possible reconciliation. However, emotions were raw, and every attempt at mediation seemed to ignite further conflict rather than soothe tensions. One evening, a surprise twist emerged. An anonymous source claimed to possess footage of interactions that allegedly contradicted the viral tape, suggesting that Kendra's involvement had been exaggerated or misrepresented. The revelation sent shockwaves through both camps, forcing Jock to confront the possibility that he might have acted prematurely, while giving Kendra a glimmer of hope that her innocence could be publicly vindicated. As both sides digested this new development, family members weighed in more vocally. Cousins, siblings, and close relatives debated loyalties, analyzed motives, and offered unsolicited advice. Further complicating an already volatile situation, their involvement added another layer of emotional complexity, highlighting the high personal stakes intertwined with public perception. Amidst all this, Kendra decided to make a bold move. She scheduled a live-streamed Q&A to address fans directly. Her goal was to speak candidly, explain her perspective, and counter the narrative spun by the viral tape. The stream drew thousands of viewers, each eager to see her emotional response, with some expressing sympathy and others challenging her version of events. The conversation was intense, emotionally charged, and punctuated with raw honesty. Kendra recounted her side, detailing private moments of confusion, fear, and betrayal, and expressing regret over misunderstandings that may have contributed to the viral controversy. Her vulnerability resonated with many, but it also reignited debates, as skeptics questioned the timing and authenticity of her statements. Jock, observing the livestream from his mansion, felt a mixture of relief, anger, and concern. While he recognized her attempt to set the record straight, he worried about the potential impact on his image and the ongoing narrative surrounding the Kirk tape. Discussions with his team intensified, strategizing ways to respond without escalating the situation further. The following day, an unexpected confrontation occurred when Kendra and Jock's paths crossed at a mutual friends gathering. The encounter was electric, emotions running high as old resentments and unresolved feelings surfaced. The room crackled with tension as both navigated the delicate dance of civility, past affection, and present conflict. Whispers and glances from bystanders amplified the pressure, making every word and gesture significant. During the gathering, a heated exchange erupted in private. Jock confronted Kendra, demanding answers and accountability for perceived betrayals, while Kendra stood her ground, asserting her innocence and sharing her perspective on the viral tape and the sequence of events that had led to her eviction. Emotions ran high, voices raised, and for a moment, it seemed as though the confrontation would escalate into a public spectacle. Friends intervened, urging calm and reminding both parties of the stakes at play. Despite efforts to mediate, the tension lingered, unresolved and simmering beneath the surface. Meanwhile, social media exploded once again. Eyewitness accounts, blurry photos, and snippets of overheard conversations spread like wildfire, each interpretation fueling new debates and polarizing fans even further. Supporters of both Jock and Kendra weighed in passionately, analyzing body language, tone, and apparent emotional cues, turning the gathering into yet another chapter in the ongoing saga. As the week progressed, both Jock and Kendra faced mounting pressure from different directions. Legal advisors, publicists, and inner-circle friends debated strategy, weighing the risks of public statements versus private negotiations. Each decision felt critical, with the potential to either mend or permanently fracture relationships, reputations, and alliances. In the midst of this, an unanticipated ally emerged. A mutual friend who had stayed neutral throughout the ordeal offered to facilitate a private, mediated conversation between Jock and Kendra, hoping to provide a controlled environment where emotions could be expressed honestly and resolutions explored without the glare of public scrutiny. After careful consideration, both agreed, recognizing the necessity of addressing unresolved issues directly, despite lingering resentment and suspicion. The meeting was tense, emotionally charged, and punctuated by moments of vulnerability and defensiveness. Jock, grappling with feelings of betrayal, demanded clarity and acknowledgement of his perspective, while Kendra, seeking to explain her actions and intentions, shared her side of the story with raw honesty. The conversation revealed misunderstandings, miscommunications, and emotional blind spots that had contributed to the viral fallout, highlighting the complexity of relationships under the relentless scrutiny of social media and public attention. Outside the controlled setting, fans continued to speculate, dissecting rumors and leaked details from the mediated meeting. Social media platforms buzzed with commentary, theories, and predictions, each new post contributing to the ever-expanding narrative surrounding Jock, Kendra, and the Kirk tape scandal. By the end of the week, both parties had experienced a whirlwind of emotions, public scrutiny, and strategic decision-making. While the confrontation and mediated discussion provided some clarity, unresolved questions lingered, ensuring that the drama was far from over. The tension between Jock and Kendra remained palpable, fueled by lingering hurt, public pressure, and the complex web of emotions, loyalties, and narratives that had been spun over the past several days. Fans, friends, and family all awaited the next move, knowing that any new development could drastically alter the trajectory of the ongoing saga. The story had evolved far beyond a viral tape. It had become a study in emotional conflict, public perception, and the high stakes of personal relationships under the unrelenting gaze of a captivated audience. Part 3 of the story promised even more twists, confrontations, and emotional turbulence as both Jock and Kendra navigated the aftermath, sought closure, and attempted to reclaim agency over their lives and reputations in a world that had already drawn its judgments. The drama surrounding young Jock and Kendra has captured the attention of fans, media outlets, and social media alike, leaving everyone wondering what will happen next. From the shocking viral Kirk tape to the emotional confrontations, public statements, and tense mediated meetings, this saga has been a roller coaster of heartbreak, betrayal, and suspense. Fans have witnessed the intense emotions, the heated arguments, and the struggles both Jock and Kendra faced while navigating public scrutiny and personal turmoil. The eviction, the leaked information, and the public appearances have only added layers of intrigue, leaving audiences divided and speculating endlessly about the truth behind the events. Questions remain: will Jock and Kendra find a way to reconcile, or are they destined to move on separately? How will the viral tape continue to impact their reputations, relationships, and interactions with family, friends, and fans? And what new twists might emerge in a story that has already proven unpredictable and emotionally charged? This ongoing saga is far from over, and viewers like you are invited to share your thoughts, theories, and reactions. Did Jock make the right decision by kicking Kendra out? Was Kendra unfairly judged by the public? Or is there more to the story than meets the eye? Your opinion matters, and joining the conversation ensures you stay part of every new development, reaction, and shocking revelation as it unfolds. Don't forget to hit that like button if this story had you on the edge of your seat, subscribe for the latest updates and exclusive coverage, and comment below with your take on who you think was right and what you expect to happen next. The drama isn't over yet, and your voice could spark the next wave of discussion in this unbelievable tale of trust, betrayal, and viral scandal.